I remember after I watched Iron Man 2 in theaters with a friend of mine, he turned to me and said, "Did we just watch a movie? I feel like we didn't just watch a film." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't even know what you say to something like that." And he goes, "I know what you say. That was the most bland, boring, generic product of a film that was rushed out to make a profit that I've ever seen. There absolutely no creative talent, no care, nothing went into this." And I think to this day he regards it as being the worst Marvel movie from the simple standpoint that it's so mediocre and bland, you can't even really make fun of it. Um, like something like Thor the Dark World is harder to watch, but you can laugh at it and you can criticize it. Iron Man 2 is just like, you don't even know where to start. And Demon Slayer is the Iron Man 2 of shonen animes. It is the most generic, bland, cliched, phoned in thing I've ever seen, but it has extremely high production values. So it's very popular and very well regarded for some reason. I don't really know why, other than just the production values. Because aside from that, it's hard for me to think of something that is more generic, that takes more from other sources and adds absolutely nothing of itself to it. It's like you just have so many shonen arguments, like elements to it. You have, okay, so there's like the water guy in the team, there's the lightning guy, there's, I think, the fire guy, there's this organization that fights something that have like ranks within it and people want to climb the ranks within it. The main character is extremely similar to Goku just in terms of personality and just having this like natural talent. The villains are all like the most stock cliche, like, oh, it's the spider guy, oh, it's the mask guy. It's so just, I'd say it's try hard, but it's not. It's try nothing. It's like, I call some things try hard edgy because they're just trying to throw edgy stuff at the wall until it's like it's dark. This is the opposite. This is like, we're gonna take all the shonen elements we can think of, shove them into a show, and just throw money at it until people like it. And I think that's how I describe Demon Slayer. Like, it's hard to even comment on it. Like, I guess I could go through it like point by point or episode by episode and just point out every generic, boring, lame thing about it. But I just don't want to. If I'm going to rip something apart, there's like way better things to rip apart than that. Like, take something like Ruby. I could literally go through every episode of Ruby and do like a 4-hour video about why it sucks and how much it sucks. But for this, it's like, who cares? Who cares enough to even like review this? But it's so highly regarded. It's like, okay, so like Attack on Titan is very highly regarded, but Attack on Titan I think is a lot more visually. I don't like the art style for Demon Slayer. Maybe that's my big issue with it, is I really, really hate the art style. So even though it's really expensive and it looks really good, it doesn't really impact me because I just don't like it. You can you can polish a turd as much as you want, but if I fundamentally don't like what the art style is based on, it doesn't really matter how much money you put into it. I think one of the lamest aspects of the show is, I think there's only one demon. There's like the demon lord who creates the other demons, and I think he's the only supernatural thing in the world. The demon slayers have supernatural abilities too, but it's this really, really narrow thing. Like, all the yokai in Japan come from this one dude who's not very interesting. And it's like, how did he come about? Why isn't it like Inuyasha where there's just demons all over the place, or Ghost Hunt or something else? It's just like, we got the one shonen villain who they have to take down, and they got the organization. It reminds me of like Bleach, but without any of the things that made Bleach kind of interesting. And I don't like Bleach, but Bleach is better than this. Dragon Ball's way better than this. JoJo's way better than this. Like, there's so many shonen that have a lot of generic elements that are better than this show. The only thing that stands out a little bit about Demon Slayer, aside from the suspiciously high production values, is it's set during the Taisho era. And I can't really think of anything else that's set during the Taisho era. The top of my head, I think it was the early it's like the pre-World War II period after Emperor Meiji died to the mid to late 20s. Emperor Taisho, I forget what the disease was that he had. Might have been meningitis, but he was incapable for most of his reign, so he didn't reign for particularly long. And Emperor Showa was the regent for most of that time period. So I guess it's kind of interesting that I think it's 1911 or something, or 1908. It's right before World War One. So that's kind of an interesting period to look at. They don't really do much with it, but that's like the only original thing about it. So like overall with Demon Slayer, it's like it was okay, I guess. It was the definition of like 6 out of 10. It's barely watchable. I guess if you're just looking for something to put on in the background, it's like okay for that. There's definitely some scenes that are better than others. Like I thought the training part was better than what happened later on. The relationship with his sister was okay, but overall it's just not good. It's just not good. It's just bland and lame and disappointing and not good at all. So that's the review of Demon Slayer.